Hey everybody, I have a new DIY project I'm digging into, and I want to start capturing footage here to hopefully put together an A to Z front to back video on how I'm doing all the steps, crossing fingers that they go the way I want. So right now we're at the first step, and I almost forgot to take a before, so this is my before shot. And it's pretty messy, so forgive the mess here. But I'm very, very excited. We're just getting started. And so the footprint of the fire pit that was here is about 8 feet across. So it's a very large fire pit. It's meant to be a hardworking fire pit for lots of brush and things we do here on our 10 acres. And so I want to keep that utility of it, but I also want it to be really elevated and beautiful. So the great thing is I don't have to worry about creating a surface that has to function for like foot traffic and chairs and all of that stuff like I had originally thought. I thought I was going to have to do this entire area. And now that's not a need because the grass is doing its job. It will make a nice surface for people to just hang out. So I can really just focus on the edges and the perimeter of the fire pit. Part of my goal is, first of all, to have it be aesthetically really beautiful and interesting. Second of all, I would love for it to prevent this kind of gnarly like weed grass stuff from getting too high and overgrowing. Like this was on the edge of the ring before where we had the boulders. We had some just rustic boulders here. I want to create a functional and beautiful border so that it is easy for Cute Man, my hubby, to mow right over and up to the edge. And clip all the grass so I don't have to worry about maintaining it with the weed whacker or anything. I also think it will look more prominent and like a gorgeous centerpiece here for our backyard, lining it up with the center post between the sets of trees. Right, so I've been digging with the loader bucket, and I think I've got a nice little depression started here. I just got my tape measure out, and what I'm trying to do is get the true center here with this fence post in relation to that and that, so we have a nice focal point. I can take a string and start to do an actual radius around the circle. Okay, so I've got the circle outlined with the weasel, and the center out 6 feet. So if you go all the way across, 12 feet. So we're adding 4 foot, 2 on each side. And then in order to break this piece up so I can pull it off with the little claw, I always chunk my turfs out into little bricks. So I push into the ground like this, like that, and then so on and so forth. So there's like little slices of the pie. So then this area I just outlined, this whole area is a rectangle that I can then pull off with the claw, and it comes back pretty easily. It feels really good to get the whole thing outlined. I might try to take the tractor and dig up some of the ridge that's right on the inside here now. Starting to feel really good to me because the circle is bigger than it was. It's a lot more crisp and formal. It just really feels like it's gonna make a statement. Really uneven, but it's a good start, and I still have turf to take out, but I got quite a bit of it out in the crude way that the tractor can help. Day 2, and I was noticing that the depth of the soil is just still too high. Gosh, I gotta get more of this layer of soil up and out. So what I did, and I don't care if people say this is a no-no, I'm trying it anyways, our trusty earthquake tiller, and I rustled up the outer ring that outer 2 feet all the way around, just to get it loose. And now I'm thinking I should just do the center too, to get it loose, because I realize, I'm like, this isn't about me upsetting the soil that's going to be underneath the bricks and the stone, which is what you don't want to do. You want to tamp it really well. This is about me still lifting off the soil. Well, that went pretty good. I dug out more, and I'm trying to eyeball if I think I got enough out. I don't know. I'm gonna have to play around with it, move it around, see where it levels out to. Like if I can get it to tamp down to about a 3-inch or 4-inch depression here. I think I've got it at the right depth now. I evened it out with the tiller and the rake, and then I just walked the edges with my feet to start to tamp in that line. And it's looking like a good 3 inches at least that I'm down. I'm kind of tempted to say good enough, 3 to 4 inches depending on the spot. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is not like a patio that's going to have a perfect even foundation, thank goodness. Because I think I don't have patience for that. It feels like a math problem, and I am really not into that, doing something that precise. So now I need to tamp this all down and try to get it relatively even. Again, I'm not going to be fussing over perfection, which feels kind of nice. So we'll see how this goes with the tamping tool. Well, the tamp tool went pretty well. I focused on the outside ring here and just really flattened stuff, so kind of took it like so. Just using it like so, letting the weight of it really compound the earth. Oop. And it's a great way to see like where it's not quite level, or if I have a significant uneven area that I want to even out a little more. Again, I'm not being perfect with it, but I found some areas that were too high, so I was able to move the dirt over, even it out, and I think it looks pretty great. It feels really good. Starting to get some polish and some discipline and organization taking shape here. Day 3. So it rained a little bit. It's been a good week since I've been able to get to the next step here. And it looks fine. The ground feels real good. It has dried out since the rain a couple days ago. And the ground feels really nice and firm. So I'm not worried one bit. I'm not worried one bit about it. I'm really liking the placement of the stones. There's a Kong Frisbee. If you ever wanted one in the middle of a fire pit. There you go, babe. And I'm super pumped because I'm about to take the next step to put the leveling sand in to get my base in here. And I thought, I just want to visually see the flagstone. Isn't that pretty? In the ring, because I'm kind of going back and forth and saying, well, gosh, maybe I should start my organic design cutout here and have some things start to flow off. And I'm worried that that's going to become like scope creep, and then this is going to become this crazy project that I'm never going to get done this fall. So I'm trying to keep it manageable for myself. And I thought, well, why don't I bring these over first just to visualize the placement? And I threw one of these in here, and you can see size-wise, they totally will fit inside this ring around the stones. And that was what I was worried about, is, oh, are these going to be so big that they're going to jag out and then I'm going to have to cut out more? And I'm not quite ready to go bigger yet, but I also want to set it up for success. So if I keep to the ring here, focus on what I've got started, which I think is the right move. Emma, let's not dig. Then I will gain experience. I will learn the ins and outs. And I'm frankly not worried about the ability to cut more away later, because I might add some cool design elements, some like trailing off, and maybe some connectivity over here to the wood piles, and then do the wood pile. But that feels like a next year thing. Like, I don't want to rush this. I just want to do this really well. What is in there you're so interested in? What? Leave it. Hey, I'm the most pumped about this stone. Like, I knew I would love it. I absolutely love flagstone. I've always loved it. I think it's so beautiful, and seeing it, like being able to visualize, oh, it's going to be gorgeous. I'm already loving, you can see there's bluer stones mixed in with the red. I just think the contrast is just amazing. So I'm excited to tackle this next step. So this is feeling fancy to me. We're delivering a load of flagstone to the fire pit in grand style, because we happened to put some of it on this hay wagon we got the same day that we got the flagstone. It's actually been great to store some of it. And it'll be handy for me to grab them at waist height for my back and just literally place them where I want, right into the fire pit. So glad that my husband said something about that, because he was like, well, we have flagstone on this hay wagon and we want to get it off so we can use it for other things like pumpkins, etc. And he's like, when are you going to take that stuff off there? And so this is actually going to hit two birds with one stone for us. So I don't have to worry about clearing this off after laying the fire pit. See, there's such a nice assortment of stones on this wagon, like these large smooth pieces with the beautiful lines. I also tested out some of the bricks. You can see some of the thinking I have here with the brick design. I may or may not use bricks this round, but I have some ideas for mixing them in with these more organic flagstones just to see what happens. All sorts of sizes and textures here. They're just really, really cool. So we got our sand bed laid. And I'm starting to place some stones and get the feel for this, because I'm sure this is going to be a learn and practice as you go sort of thing with placement, because I want to get them like relatively close together so I don't have a ton of space to fill in with joint sand or whatever I decide to put in between. Still up for debate. And also trying to get them remotely level. I might actually grab the level and just see if that's worth my time. And then I'm actually standing on them just to kind of get them a little bit more, pushed into the ground and stable. And then just kind of get a feel for it. And I really like how this is looking. Granted, it's the first 3 stones here. I'm just starting. I'm sure I'll get smarter as I go. And then I really love this bigger piece, so I thought, why not place it at the front, right, kind of aligned with the center, not symmetrically aligned, but as a little bit of a focal point here. So just getting my bearings, and so far I'm thinking the bricks aren't going to be a fit, but we'll see what happens. Starting to get into a groove here. I feel like this is so much like doing border garden stones. It reminds me of other things I've done in the past where you really got to pay attention to the depth of the material underneath and how these stones are relating so that they're roughly even. Hard to show on camera here, but I'm starting to get the hang of that. And then I'm stepping on every stone, kind of standing on it to tamp it down. But it's going relatively well, knock on wood. And I'm starting to get a feel for how I want to be placing things. I'm finding if I go in a row, it goes faster and better. Instead of, I started going, well, I want some here, some there, some there. And then I would run into this weird spot where I'm like, well, wait, they're converging and I don't have a stone that fits perfectly in that gap. So that actually doesn't make a lot of sense. You just want to kind of keep going in a line. And like this piece just fit really well. And this last piece fit pretty well. This one, I love the length and how it hugs the curve of the boulders there. I think it's starting to look really pretty, and I love the blue with the pink with the red stone. I think it's just such a pretty contrast. I have lost track of what day I'm on at this point because I'm chipping away at this when I have time. So it's really not like a day 1, day 2, day 6 kind of a thing. It's just chunks of time. But look at how pretty. I'm really, really happy with this. The longer I sit on this, because I started it a couple weeks ago now, the more I am just really pleased. I just think the colors are stunning. It's what I was hoping for. It's really achieving the vision here. So at this point, you can see I've got a lot of the bigger pieces laid, and they just look really natural and like they're supposed to be here. And then I've got spots that I want to start to fill in, and I'm assessing like how much I want to fill them in. Like this piece is going to go here, and then I'm not going to have a perfect edge. I'm just going to leave it be a little bit more organic and natural. So I'm just making a decision about, what do I want to fill in and what don't I before we do the joint sand. I've made it really far before I had to start using the chisel, and now we are to that point here. So this set of blocks is where I'm kind of chiseling some stuff out and starting to get small. I just finished setting the stones and getting all the little teeny tiny ones nestled in where I want them. And I'm really liking how they butt up against the boulders here, like in those little crevices. And this is a fun area. This stone here actually has a channel in it that is lower that these stones fit into. And I realized once I put the locking sand in, it's just gonna look like a big blob. So I thought, wow, I should put some stones in that little ravine, and I think it looks really cool. Next up, I'm going to take the blower to this to blow all the leaves out and also settle the sand in. I've got sand sitting, kind of loosely on top of the stones, and I want it to get settled into the crevices so that I leave enough room in between the cracks here to have that lock sand get in there and start to adhere and bond things together. I'm realizing like it's gonna need enough depth in between the stones. Like here, for example, this has a lot of nice depth here because you've got the leveling sand down below, and then there's some depth where there's space for that joint sand to get in there and bond between the stones. I don't want it to be so much where things are like flush right up to the top like here. where there's no room for that sand to get in there and do its thing. So I'm thinking when I take the blower over this, it'll really do a nice job of leveling everything out. Oh, this is getting exciting. Getting the sand in there. It's starting to come to life. Woohoo! And it's very satisfying. I'm going to try to do this with one hand. It's going to hurt to do, but you know, you just literally sweep it into the cracks. And this is so similar to what I've done before with the patio that feels like old hat. I'm just sweeping it into all the cracks here. You literally want to get it in every little crevice so that it will bond and help join everything together. Ooh, it's so exciting. Oh, I feel so good about this. Look at how that filled in. Wow, it just looks fantastic. And I haven't even put the water on it yet. So what I've done is made sure to really sweep it back and forth into the different crevices and make sure those little tiny stones here along the boulders are getting a little bit exposed. And then the axis I had, I pushed it up to the grass line here, figuring that that's not a bad move. And what will happen over time is that locking sand will erode and kind of wash away. So I don't feel bad if any residue is left on the stones here. I might play with the blower just to touch it up a little bit before I wet it down, but essentially once I put the water on it and you do a really light mist, nothing that would disturb anything with the hose, that sets it, and then it has to sit, I think, for 2 days without any rain to set and cure. Oh my goodness. So gorgeous. So the instructions in the bag say to wet it down a couple more times every 20 minutes. So I'm going to come out here and do that, but I am done. I am so excited to be done.